Alright, something I wish someone would have told me when I was younger, middle school, high school, college, honestly, even now at 24, is that it's okay if you've never been in a relationship. It is literally okay. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Nasir. This morning I woke up and chose violence. No, just kidding. I woke up and chose love because this video is all about romances, being single, X, Y, and Z. I'm literally just a 24-year-old hopeless romantic who has been bombarded with images of people who have been living these seemingly magical lives, and I've internalized that. And honestly, I think a lot of us have internalized that, but we just don't admit it because there's a societal expectation for us to be booed up real quick and to be living our best lives with our bae. And I think it's really important to realize that although that is amazing, and hopefully one day I could experience that too, but in the meantime, I'm just trying to enjoy life as it is. Yeah, let's get into it. When I look back between high school and now, so I'm 24 now, so when I look back at the last 8 years, I will say, and I will admit that there was an overcast of wanting to be in a romantic relationship with someone. And if you do feel this way, you're probably the kind of person who in high school really loved those coming of age films, because in those films not only would it help you to escape from your current reality, but at the same time it would help you to get a little taste of what that magical, mystical, cinematic love felt like. So, you know, you'll have your main character, that main character would have a potential love interest, those two would either end up being together or they'd have a little fling or something. And, you know, over time, especially when you're in high school, that starts to weigh down on you because you watch these films and you consume this media, whether it's music or movies, whatever it is, about people your age being in love. Then you're like, okay, well, that's not me, and that's fine. But then after that, you know, after this one night of watching this film, you go to school the next day, you see people kissing in the hallway, you see people holding hands, and you're like, okay, crap, well, that's not me. And then once you get to college, it gets even more. I feel like everyone in college is like, let's get it. So good for them and it's so exciting for them. But I oftentimes do believe that we internalize seeing other people in relationships, and oftentimes we expect and we want that. And I'm just here to tell you that it's okay that you haven't experienced that yet, or it's okay if you might have had a relationship that failed and it wasn't the epic love story that you wanted it to be. Whatever you've experienced so far, granted, hopefully it's been healthy, etc., is okay. And yeah, looking back at the last 8 years, I will say that unfortunately, you know, of course I did have my little flings, my little international boo things or whatever, but it never extended into something that I wanted it to be. It never grew into what I wanted it to be. And looking back, I'm realizing that I only ever wanted a certain idea or depiction of a relationship because that's just what I've been taught since I was a kid. Like, okay, you're gonna find the one, because there could only ever be one person in your life. You're gonna find that one person that fixes all of your problems because you guys are so madly in love. And as I get older and as I see some of my friends in relationships, or as I see like other people, or just in general, I realize that we've all been lied to. We really have. You know, there's no such thing as a perfect love. And, you know, and also on top of that, there's no such thing as only one type of love. And I think it's important to realize that just because you might not have that romantic sexual relationship doesn't mean that you can't let your soul be fed through the platonic relationships with your friends and people you just care about. And I don't know, I just really started to think, because a weekend or two ago, I started to hang out with this guy, and you know, I really liked him, and I have a huge crush on him. And hopefully he doesn't watch this video, but and we hung out, and in my mind, my go-to thing was like, okay, now that we're hanging out, like, we need to get married, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. But I just think it's so important to realize that you're allowed to have these experiences, these fun, romantic experiences, without them necessarily leading into something else. And I think oftentimes we put this pressure on ourselves to turn something into something bigger, because if not, then it's a waste of time, or whatever the case may be. Let me get a little sip of coffee, hold on. If your current crush doesn't turn into your partner of the next 5 years, that is fine. If you haven't had a partner the last 5 years, that is okay too. Our romances don't have to turn into a fantasy, magical type of relationship. Sometimes it's okay just to have experiences and to learn what you need to learn from that experience. And you know, I think one really awesome thing that I learned from my therapist was, instead of being that person who, because I have like a really ridiculous like attachment style, instead of being that kind of person who's like, okay, well, this is the future, this is concrete, this is solid, sometimes you just have to be like, hey, do I want to see this person again? And if the answer is yes, simply see the person. And if the answer is no, that's okay. You don't need to see that person again. But just don't put this pressure on yourselves to craft this life that everyone has told you that you should have. And obviously, if you want to be in a relationship, please do that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna get up here and say I don't want to, because I do, but I also am thankful for the time that I've had by myself. And I think that I've grown a lot not being necessarily in a relationship with someone the last 5 or 6 years. And this is not the case for everyone. And no, I'm not coming for people who have been in relationships since they were in high school, because I have a lot of friends who have been like that and they're doing just fine. But for me, I've noticed that I've grown the most by not particularly putting most of my energy into someone.
20 is for growth. 20 is for the pursuit of a tomorrow that is better than today. 20 is for options. 20 is for passion and knowledge and enjoyment. It is not for continuous compromise.
And I will say, like, I don't know how you are, but I'm the kind of person, like, I work in extremes. So look, if I'm giving you energy, you have to get 110%, baby. You're not getting no 20 or 30%. So for me, it was better, looking back, it was honestly better not to be in a relationship in high school or college, mainly because I feel like I would have put so much energy into someone else and not into myself. And yes, that is toxic. That is very unhealthy. But I wouldn't have known that unless I had time to reflect the last 6 or 7 or 8 years. And you know, I just think it's really important that if you happen to be someone who's not in a relationship at the moment and you really want to be in X, Y, and Z, just try not to force it and try to enjoy these moments that you have with yourself, and take yourself on a date, damn it. Get out there, go take yourself painting, go to a little wine bar with your friends. Obviously, we're in the middle of a panorama, but that aside, there are a lot of romantic things that we can do that don't necessarily have to be the traditional definition of romance. And yes, of course, leave yourself open if you're looking for love. Leave yourself open to finding love. Maybe taking yourself on your little coffee date and sitting in a little cafe all mysteriously. Maybe someone will come up to you and talk to you, and like that will lead to something. 2020 was really, really hard. 2021 is a little difficult too, and I feel like we're all being really hard on ourselves, and I just really want to make sure that people aren't taking this time to beat themselves up. And I know that's so much easier said than done, and I'm just some guy on the internet, so like I obviously understand if my own words don't hold weight, but I really don't want you to beat yourself up, nor do I want any of us to beat ourselves up for things that we can't control. In the meantime, it's really important just to maybe don't think about so much of what we're missing, but try to enjoy the present and do romantic things with yourself in the present, or with your friends, or even if you have a little fling, a little boo thing, do romantic things with them, but try not to force what's not meant for you. And of course, we won't know what's meant for us until it happens, but usually you can kind of get that vibe. And I just hope that over time, we all get more comfortable with enjoying these moments when we're alone, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with being single. There's nothing wrong with not having a partner. Also, there's nothing wrong with having a partner, and there's nothing wrong with being in a relationship. But I just really hope that everyone knows that there's no one way to life, and when it comes to romances, there's no one way for a romantic relationship to work. There's no one way for romance to exist. Romance is everywhere, and hopefully we seek more romance in our day-to-day lives and don't focus on the end goal, but maybe just focus on the process. And you know, I made this video, but literally currently I'm making a playlist on Spotify called like solo Valentine's Day stuff, just because I just feel like this whole month is just such a mess, or this whole soon to be month, whatever month we're in whenever this video drops, it's just such a mess, and there's so much pressure on us. And you know, capitalism's like, you need to go get that partner and spend your little $3,000 or whatever on gifts for this partner. But no, damn it. If you want to spend money on yourself, or spend it on your friends, people you love, but it doesn't have to be someone that you're particularly in a romantic relationship with and having sex with. So life is complicated, everything's complicated, but don't complicate it more. Just enjoy it, just exist, and have fun. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all later.